gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe, here in this great hall of justice, are the most powerful forces of good ever assembled. Dedicated to truth, justice, and peace for all mankind.
Welcome to Spin the Rack, everybody. I said, you know, we're back. I said, we're here. We're going to talk about the underground now. I'm here with PM. And we like it. And it's agreed. Now, we all know this is one of the, you're going to say this is not a superhero show. Why are we reviewing it?
It is a superhero show. They always, the writers always talk about thinking about superheroes
all the time, and the characters think they're superheroes. You have, Noah who thinks he's a Superman, but again, he's not one of my favorite characters. But they got the man, Kato back there, the man with the scar,
Kato,
the brother, Kato. So listen, this is our first official underground review of the last couple episodes.
It's our first review. We do have a video up with the actors from the show.
Yeah, we were there.
So,
let me tell you, that show was off the hook. That panel when we went to, off the hook. People were all over the place. Rabid fan base, I gotta say.
Check it out. Watch it.
Gotta watch it. So, I gotta say, we're not gonna go over the whole thing. This is basically.
Oh, we're going over the whole thing.
Oh, we're gonna go over the whole thing?
We finally got this. We've been arguing. We've been discussing it and saying, "Wow, it's a lot better than I thought it was gonna be." Well,
it is very good.
It's a whole lot better.
Much better.
I'm saying it, and we're talking all separately.
Okay, so I'll let PM set it up, and then shoot it down.
Okay, so. What was it? The first season was about the Making Seven, right?
The Making Seven.
There's escape, but there's a lot of twists to it.
So the Making Seven are the slaves who escaped from Tom Makin's
his plantation. Yes.
Okay.
He escapes, but it's not the escape they plan. Two people leave first, and everyone that's supposed to go, they somehow get out, and then it's the whole group as one, and then they slowly, and it's a drama. And also, it's a fantasy sort of aspect. So there's realism in it, but then there's a lot of people. We lose a lot of people along the way.
Yeah,
it's a tough sort of story. But then we also have there's some white people that are also helping out,
which actually happened during the course. So let's not say it doesn't happen.
I didn't say it didn't happen.
I'm just saying some people are like, yo, what's going on? Look, dude. If you read your history, there are white abolitionists who definitely helped stop the slave trade.
The best part was this season was they have some new abolitionists that come in, and the wife has something. If you haven't seen the season 1, we will come back. Or season 2. There's a lot of other surprises we can't even say starting up. But something happens to one of the abolitionists, and we can't say it. So the wife is kind of lost in her way in this story. She's finding it. With this new group, and she turns to this guy who just comes in a group, and he says, "Why are you doing this?" And he says, "Well, when I was a kid, this, that, and the other, that," and it's a long story. And he said,
"No,
there is no reason. I'm doing it because it's wrong, and we don't need every time we read a character to see why is this guy helping this person, the cat, out of a tree. We don't need to know. He's there to help." That's it.
And that's a very good point. A very good point.
It was a very powerful scene this season, and there's a lot of great stuff. Everyone's in a different place because Noah is in jail. The Black Rose, she has
Rosalie.
She's gained a lot of sort of myth that we don't. And then to also have Harriet Tubman in there and add in some of the history of her myths and becoming this real. Well, is it a myth? Is it real? Is it fantasy? Are they superheroes? There's so much stuff going on. And then Kato's story comes in.
Oh,
it's
Kato
like
the man.
He's overseas. Like what? He's like
Kato was a slave. He was a overseer. He becomes rich. He goes to Europe.
Yes.
He comes back. It's like total.
And then
crazy.
they also bring in the East Indian English people into the story. And that's one of the
Indian. You just say Indian. East Indian.
No, I'm just So I don't want anyone to think I'm making a mistake about saying Native American.
Right, not Native American. Because in America,
you're right, American, but I'm just saying that's why I said it. So don't try to correct me, Mario. You ain't the. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but it's like this season, there's been a lot of twists. The only thing when who is it? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say Stabler from SVU. When he comes back, he's even better fighter than everyone else in the show. He comes.
How's Stabler?
Oh, the guy who has the beard. What's his name in the show? Not Noah. The white guy who's a slave hunter.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the one who's related to Rosalie and her family. The one who went after them.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And he has to deal with the female slave hunter too.
Yes.
You know, Cannon. Even though
she's a very mythical character also.
So who really existed, but in a different time period, which is kind of wild. I mean, this is one thing I like about the show is that it uses real people, real situations, and it also blends fiction, of course. But it's also trying to teach you what's going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Nothing that you think is always just pure black and white. Just a play, but you know everything. There's more to some things. You know, like for example, Rosalie is the daughter of the plantation owner, Tom Macon. You know, and that in and of its fact, and then she's against her father, and of course he's your slave. He's the one he sees you get whipped and harassed and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting.
The other thing is that we want our characters to change, and then of course the first season, there's some things for payment, because a lot of movies and TV, they have payment for the crimes that you did, and they did that, and I'm not sure they should have done that at the end, you know, with the plantation owner, how that ended up. But you know, it still was, there was so much people losing so many characters, it didn't feel as bad as it was saying, okay, they just want to pay back for all the stuff he did. But the other thing that us, you know, with our present day 21st century sort of mindset, or even, you know, we look at things and we're like saying, how could they have accepted this? How can they do that? And it's like everyone just, you know, a lot of times people just do what they were taught. And that's the problem why this, you know, slavery just kept going, because no one would wake up and say, what was our property, we should give them rights and all that sort of thing. So
that's kind of heavy.
It's a heavy story. It's heavy.
And he's right. You know, I mean, if depending on the time that you're sitting and you look at things a little differently. And some of the choices that they make in this show, you know, like Ernestine, she is Rosalie's mother, and she has a relationship with the slave owner. She's a house slave until until that whole thing breaks down and she gets kicked out. Now in season 2, she's now in the field. She's been sold off from where she was before, and she's now working in the fields in the Carolinas, in the Gullah community, which I kind of like their whole portrayal of the Gullah community. The Gullah community is an African-American community that...
and it's almost like a musical. When they're out in the field, it's almost spiritual, those scenes, you know?
Yeah, it's very interesting how they connect, because the Gullah community still exists to this day. Yes. You know, people from that area. They lived on the Barrier Islands, the islands of the Carolina coast, which are now being taken over, you know, and people are being dispossessed, unfortunately.
Heavier.
You know,
it's getting heavier.
Yeah, but that's one thing, not here or there.
Okay, we have one thing. we have to talk about, and I've been doing this joke, and it's not my joke. It's actually my wife's joke. We had with John Legend have an appearance on the show. Yes, he did. And he's coming there, and he called him, he just asked Frederick Douglass, and my wife called him Frederick Little. I don't know if Frederick Douglass looked like he's the original Asiatic man.
Look, I don't knock it at all. If he's the producer of the show, he wants to be Frederick Douglass.
What can you do?
I thought when they told me Denzel Washington was going to be Malcolm X, I said, that's not going to work.
Why do you say
and
that?
He brought it up.
Why
you know
would you think that could work?
I'm just giving an example. You know what I'm trying to say? So, I mean, there's many characters you see. We were just talking about Thor and Hela. Kate Blanchett did a great job being Hela.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't even seen the movie.
All
I'm saying sometimes you have a character. They're actors who, no matter what they do, they can just kill it. You know, who's Meryl Streep? I mean, I've seen her in many different roles. Yeah, I watch Meryl Streep. So what? What do you guys say about it?
I don't even understand why
you know, she's killed some roles that I'm like, yo, I didn't think she could even sing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah.
So it's like you got to give props to who you got to give props to, and you know, now in this cast here, going back to Underground, I think the cast does a pretty great job. I personally like Kato. I like the fact that he's complicated.
Submariner of the story, who is the anti-hero, right?
I don't look at it like that. I find characters.
Magneto, he's the Magneto of it.
I like characters who are they're more complicated. Nothing is simple, and they make choices sometimes based on where they are, as opposed to a central overriding. Oh, I am so good, and I always have to do the good things. In fact, one of the great spots in this second season is that Kato comes back to the United States. He's living, I think, in Philadelphia. He's a property man. He's bought a plantation. He's rich, and so he goes and he actually. I don't know if I should give it away, but one of the characters who always professes to be freedom, always has plans that go sour, and
well, the thing is
and hold on, let me say it.
That's Noah's struggles as far.
All right, so it's Noah. I didn't want to say it for you, but Noah.
That's not really the mystery.
Right. So what I'm saying, Noah. So when Noah he helps Noah and he brings him up there. They're having a discussion. He's basically saying, here it is. I'm going to show how pure your heart is, how natural you are, how much selfish. I'm going to give you a choice. I have a group of slaves that I got, a package, a container. You know what I'm trying to say? And I will free them if you give yourself back into slavery. Just to show you let me see how pure you really are, how much you're willing to sacrifice for the cause. Or you can just take yourself to slavery. If you could just remain free, and these guys are going to be sold to slavery. And of course, Noah, ponders. He struggles with it emotionally on the show. And what does he do? He does what everybody else will basically do in that situation. I ain't selling myself back into slavery. I'm going to stay a free man. And that's what he does. All right? Walks away. But my man Kato never was going to put these people into slavery. He gave them freedom to Canada. That's the man I'm talking about. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka. That's what I'm saying. There's always a black and white.
Okay, all right. It was all right bit. But he got the next episode when the slave hunters come in, kind of gets taken apart pretty quickly.
Well, his men got taken out, so that's the thing,
Well, they had one sneaky other guy that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so they got the drop on him.
But the thing is right on the edge. Every story is right on the edge, so it's like every time you think they're having these characters relax, everyone loses almost everything. All the thing is that. From the first season, the Rosalie and Noah, the subplot of pregnancy, what's going to happen? Is she going to be doing this and carrying a baby around? Or on the Underground Railroad and having the baby?
Well, she's a superwoman. She's a superwoman. She's doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the show. So, the way she survived, oh my gosh.
Well, the other part about passing is like black people, light-skinned black people passing as white to take on black people on trains and stuff like that. That aspect is something that we only see passing as like saying, I want to be white so I can have a good life, whereas these people are passing to get black people from one place to the other and not be attacked. So it's a powerful thing that we don't know. It's not usually prevalent talking about passing. We always think, oh, you're just trying to get away from. And then there's one other bit that I was thinking about. Oh man, what was that thing that was in there? Damn it! We'll just go for it. I think I'll remember it. I'll try to remember it for you.
Another character that I thought was extremely interesting here was Ernestine. I think that some people are not crazy about what's going on, but I think she's been put into a world where she hasn't existed. She's now working basically as a field hand, where before she's had very nice clothes, very nice life. Yeah, of course she had to put out for the master naturally and follow his orders and stuff like that and follow. But now she has to really think into herself like, who am I, what am I, and what am I doing here? She's lost her children, she's lost her life, not her life. In this episode, the second season, she's taking drugs basically. She's huffing and puffing
to deal with being in the field,
the loss, the field, her position, everything.
Well, it's a painful process of being in the field. It's not an easy thing, and being that she's been in the big house for who knows how long, everything that she had is now under the. I'm looking at it, from the first season, I'm like saying, would I survive in the field? You don't have any sunblock back then, so am I gonna put like mud all on my skin so I could survive the field? And I got a big straw hat. I got the big straw hat.
Like Caliban?
But you still have the arm. Yeah, it's like, oh, shut up, damn Caliban. Whatever. Go on.
You're joking.
You killed my whole argument talking about that nonsense.
So what I'm saying though is that she emotionally, I think that you're right. She hasn't been used to it, but I think the psychological fact that her daughter has like totally turned on her at the end. She lost everything. No matter what you can say about Tom Macon, he at least had her in a position, where she was related, where she had some type of status, and I think they even talked about it in the first season where there's like, could we survive as a field hand? We're masked. We're basically wearing masks in this house all the time.
Yeah.
At least the field hands got home and can take off the mask and and be themselves. And I think that's an important thing. So she's trying to find who is she, because she's been wearing a mask all her life.
Yeah.
What I'm trying
that's
to
a
say?
good point.
And
well, that's a strong point, because we always look at the house aspect, and they're saying we just play nice. Not we, but the slave, the house Negroes play nice, and then you just have an easy life where you're on for 24/7 dealing with house duties and not breaking character, not showing any attitude. Well, if you do have a moment of weakness, you get hit in the face.
Exactly.
So it's a powerful thing, taking her and moving her from somewhere else. But one of the other bits that you as a historian, you can tell me yay or nay. The thing that I didn't, and I'm gonna drag in Django into this. I'm dragging a terrible Django movie. And they had a scene that everyone liked, which was the Klan scene.
Yeah.
And when I was watching the aspect of the abolitionist that was on PBS, if I say you're an abolitionist, and say we're both white, right? You're an abolitionist, I'm like this. All I need is get a crowd of white people, and I could take you out now. I don't need to put on any masks. I don't need to do anything.
Right.
I could take you out, kill you, and say, well, what happened? This, that. A lot of people are like, he's spouting all this stuff about, our Negroes, this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. Was the Klan in action back then?
No, not before the Civil War. I mean, after the Civil War is when they started to develop. I mean, now, did they have Klan-like groups or groups?
They had mobs.
Yeah, they had mobs. And so you see that when one of the characters, Elizabeth, she's giving a speech, a rousing speech, and people just start saying, I don't want to hear this stuff about abolitionists. And they start throwing stones, and there's a whole fight and stuff. You definitely had different sections. Now, the way these states were developed at the time is that clearly the South, this is how it was, and the prevalent mood is here. But you definitely had people who were different, who were like, we need to agitate towards this, and they had their public meetings, and they got attacked. I mean, naturally, And in the North, the same thing, vice versa. I mean, this is why you had, the whole running issue with states that wanted to come into the Union, and were they slave or were they free? Because you had groups of people coming from both areas fighting it out. I mean, I think the moral issue of slavery, it's definitely taken up here. You see how people live. You see what choices or lack of choices what they are. The reality is that you're not a human. You're chattel. You know what I'm saying? You're cattle. You're sold. You're bought. You're property. But at the same time, the show shows that you had to live a life. But everyone still comes home. They have homes where they go to, and that to me I find is a very intimate portrait. And you did it in Roots and others. But you come in. At the end of the day, you do the field. You do your work. The master bosses you run. You come and you have a family structure. Whether it's an ideal, an abusive situation, there's something going on where you come and get in category. And they're natural leaders. In the Gullah community, you have a preacher, and Ernestine is,
Well, the other bit that, that with Ernestine is like this being that it seems like where they're located at, it's very hot, so they're not wearing that much clothes.
Carolinas.
And it's like, and you can see the scars on Ernest.
Oh,
so it's like, vicious. That's the aspect. Well, I mean, this will bring up another comic book. I talked about it in the other one. In John Byrne's Next Men, a character gets thrown back in the pre-Civil War South, and she basically gets whipped and she's knocked out like 2 seconds. And I think they could also add in the mystical aspect, because these healers that were trying to keep the slaves alive with elixirs right after, that's a bit that they can really, I think they should try to see if they can push in what they did to get people back in health so they can go back and work, because after the get beaten or whipped till you can't stand, how do you wake up in the morning? And that sort of what you were saying, going home and building the person back up, strengthen them so they can come back or not get killed the next day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
but I mean,
there's a lot of ways to go.
That's true. But remember, these slaveholders, this was economics for them. So sometimes they treat these slaves sometimes a little better than you would have expected. You know, you think it's all beatings and destroying and try because it's expensive. You can't you kill one, you got to replace it. You know what I'm trying to say? So if you're trying to do a productive activity, you wanted to do something, terrorize them enough to the point where they're like, oh, well, you know, this is what's happening. And so that's what it was, terror. You know, this is what would happen to you if you got out of line, so that everybody stayed in line. I'm not gonna get whipped like that. I'm not gonna be put in those type of chains. I'm not gonna be stuck there. You know, so the majority of them understand that. And the problem though also is that you have people like Cato, you know, who were their overseers like in the first season.
Well, the other thing is that you're an overseer. Do you show a liking to the slave, or do you show that you're just as tough as the white overseers?
Yeah, because you want the benefits of being.
And you don't want to get killed yourself.
Exactly.
He's like saying, "Oh, he just had a bad day." Like, don't no.
Oh no.
He'll come around. It's like you've been saying that the last 3 weeks. No. He's okay. He's with me.
Don't worry. Our unit will produce. You know, other people in the team will pick up the slack and take it forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, we're not talking about the lady herself, the American Moses, Harriet Tubman.
Yes, Black Moses.
One thing that I found that was pretty interesting, and I did not know this, is that she had sleeping fits.
Yes.
Where, she'd be going through some stuff, and then she's out cold. I'm like, holy crap. Dude, you know, people are after you. You know, what are you doing? You know what I'm trying to say? Yo,
yeah.
This was written about.
She's so good at her job of saving people, she can fall asleep on the job and still make it back.
And kick butt.
Yes.
And she was so, felt that she was so, she was like a Jonah Clark character who felt she was divinely inspired. God was talking to me during my sleeping stints, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Enough respect with that. But I like the person who plays the character, you know? So, I gotta say, it was really good. Much better than I expected it to be. And I think we're gonna continue to do some more of this underground. So far, we're up to episode 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Where Cato is being captured by the slave hunters.
Yes.
And
they're going after Noah and the Black Rose.
And the Black Rose.
You know, but there's a big mixture of characters. They haven't really brought in a new group of slaves to add in. I mean, but they're showing you more the network. So they're building you that network. So it's nice to see that. And there's a lot of twists and turns every episode. So
I know.
And then now we're gonna go into Black Ink. No, we're not. We're out of here, guys.
Spinner rack out. See you guys later.